Hey everybody, Brock Boyd, CMI. Today I want to talk about recruiting checklist item number 2, which is defining the interview process. And this is for sales leaders looking to hire or any hire authority who's looking to hire in general. But our particular niche is salespeople, so I'm going to use examples that are the most pertinent to recruiting sales talent. So some of the most important aspects of the beginning of the process before you actually start recruiting candidates and speaking to candidates is defining the interview process, which includes some basic things like how many steps, who will be involved at each step and running each step, what will that step look like, and what are some of the, standardizing some of the questions and evaluation criteria that are being used to measure the candidates and drive the process. And so it's really critical that you get all the stakeholders in a room, virtually or literally, to agree on some of these elements. If you don't agree on something as simple as how many steps will there be, then I've seen clients who end up with 9+ interview steps. And I personally believe the company's not getting any value beyond about 4 steps. So if they're talking to 9 people instead of 4, those additional 5 are those people really who need to be involved in the interview process for a sales professional. Do they actually know how to measure a salesperson? Are they adding something different that the others are not that's really critical to getting the top hire? You stand a really good chance of losing candidates during an elongated process like that. And I personally believe that you're not adding any value to your evaluation of the candidate at that point. Who's going to be involved at each step, of course, is kind of tied together with part number 1, but what is each step going to look like? And so if there's, one stakeholder believes that, at some point in the process, there needs to be an email writing test, or there needs to be some sort of a presentation, and what either one of those things is going to be structured like, it's critical that you all get agreement on that up front. We've seen scenarios where they actually do some unusual step like a presentation step, and only at the point that they've already completed that step, which usually took the candidate quite a bit of work to prepare for, that's when one of the stakeholders steps in and says, oh wait, this isn't how it should be done. We need to do it like this. Let's have them do it over again. And that sends a really negative signal to the candidate about whether or not the company is internally on the same page and how often they're going to run into issues like this. And then making sure that people are using similar questions and similar evaluation criteria, so you don't have one stakeholder who's evaluating a salesperson for their hunting capabilities only, and another who's primarily evaluating them for their farming capabilities, or one stakeholder who believes that it's really, really important that the person has a lot of experience selling professional services and the rest who do not, and suddenly you get to a point where you're not evaluating based on the same thing. And it's just a kind of lose-lose for everybody. If you iron all of this out with all the stakeholders who are going to be involved on the front end, you don't run into any of these problems, and you reduce significantly the odds that you lose a top candidate as a result. That's it for this week. Happy hunting.